We'll go ahead and get started in just about 1 minute. Okay, it is 7:00 p.m. and I will go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Bay City Independent School District. We'll take a voice roll call. If present, say here. Trustee West,
Here.
Trustee Nelson,
Here.
Trustee Robinson,
Here.
Trustee Klepak,
Here.
Trustee Tenen,
Here.
Trustee DeWitt,
Here.
and Trustee Scardama is present, and we have all 7 board members in attendance tonight, and we have a quorum. I've asked Trustee DeWitt to lead us in the invocation, followed by Trustee Tenen leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. And Father, we just thank you for this time that we get to come to this board meeting, Lord, and make our school district better. And Father, we just thank you that your hand be upon us this evening and over all of our students, our teachers, faculty, everybody, Lord, who's involved with Bay City ISD, all of the parents. And we thank you for your hedge of protection about every single person. We thank you for your healing power that is invading all of our bodies right now and protecting us against this disease. And we just thank you, Lord, for everything that you do. Give us the wisdom and the insight, Lord, to be able to be leaders in our school district and in our community. And we thank you in advance for what you're doing, Lord. Be with us, Lord. Lead us, guide us, direct us, and protect us in everything. For it's in Christ's name we pray. And everyone said amen.
Amen. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Nation under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice.
And justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, item 4, I guess I'll read the opening statement allowing us to have this meeting via Zoom. So pursuant to Governor Abbott's temporary suspension of open meeting laws issued on March 16, 2020, and consistent with new state and local mandates on public health and social distancing, this regular board meeting of the Bay City Independent School District Board of Trustees will be conducted via Zoom, which will be audible to the public at the link provided at the top of this agenda. A quorum of the Board of Trustees will not physically be present at one location, and for safety reasons, we will not be permitting in-person attendance by members of the public or staff. If you wish to submit comments for review by the Board of Trustees regarding any agenda item for the January 19th, 2021 meeting, please email them to the Superintendent's Administrative Assistant, Linda Strada. Comments submitted and received by 6 p.m. today will be shared with the board. And there were no comments submitted by 6 p.m. today. So item 4, audience with patrons, is none. Item 5, celebration of excellence. And our presenter for this is Grant McGalliard. Grant?
Thank you, sir. Yes, so tonight is supposed to be a celebration of excellence, recognizing the Bay City Board of Trustees. This is part of National School Board Month. Obviously, it goes without saying, we would have loved to be able to do this in person and recognize you guys, get the press out there, take a bunch of pictures, but COVID-19 has made that impossible. However, COVID-19, it's actually kind of proven how great this board is. Y'all fought hard to make choices that benefit our teachers and students, and it's clear those are in the front of your minds at all times. You've helped keep Bay City ISD a great place to work and a great place to learn, and I really appreciate all the work you've done despite the challenges that you faced. ask incisive questions, deliberate thoughtfully, and you aren't afraid to stand up for what you think is right. And as far as I'm concerned, and I know I think I speak for everyone, I'll be one out of a board. So thank you all for all the hard work that you do. And now let's digitally hand out some certificates, which will be an interesting process. But if I can share my screen, I'll say a little thing about each trustee, and let's say we have 5 seconds to give a round of applause, and then we'll move on. So let me see if I can do this here. All right, hope everyone can see that. First up, we have board president, James Scardamai. Mr. Scardamai, has made an immediate impact with his time on the board. I'm really excited to see what he can do in a leadership position. He has a great quote in his trustee bio. He's fully invested in Bay City ISD because his wife and his children are part of this district, and serving on the board is his way of giving back to the community and making sure they have the best education that's possible. I think he's certainly shown that he is on the path to doing that so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, President James Scardamai. All right, next up, we have Vice President Trent Tennant, Bay City High School graduate. His kids go to Bay City schools, and I think he says in his bio, he's committed to the success of this district because blue and gold run through his veins. The amount of work he's done in the community, the amount of work he's done on this board certainly proved that as well. So let's give a round of applause for Mr. Trent Tennant. All right, next up is our treasurer, Mr. John DeWitt. Mr. DeWitt, another BCHS grad. It's great to see some Bay City High School alumni giving back to the community like that. And of course, Mr. DeWitt's done a bunch around Matagorda County between his work at the church, between his work with Bay City Little League and the Softball Association. Again, I'll use his words here. Bay City has been good to me and my family, and I hope with all my heart I can give back as good as it has given me. So, ladies and gentlemen, our treasurer, Mr. John DeWitt. All right, up next, one of our new board members, Priscilla Robinson. But Mrs. Robinson is certainly not new to education, over 3 decades of experience in the educational field. And we're really excited to see the amount of knowledge that she has, what she can bring to this board. She's going to do great things on the Board of Trustees. So ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Priscilla Robinson. Up next, Mr. Mark West. Mr. West, man, another BCHS grad. That's just awesome to see. And he has been out and about in the community. Again, not a teacher, but has done an incredible amount of work with Bay City ISD, between being members of several PTO, booster clubs, things of that nature. Mr. West is a big figure in the community, and we're excited to see what he brings to the board. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark West. Up next, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Edward Nelson. Coach, I never got to play for you. I was a little too young, but it's awesome to see the work that you have done on the court, and now bringing that to the conference room and the school board. You really know how to engage with kids. You've shown that with your incredible record with the Bay City High School Black Hat basketball team, and you're a valuable part of this team as well. So, Coach Edward Nelson. And last, but absolutely not least, Mr. Bob Klepak. Mr. Klepak has been a fixture on this board. He's been a fixture in Bay City since he graduated from BCHS in 1968. There's nothing I can say better than what he says in his trustee bio. So again, I'll just read it. I'm extremely honored to serve on the Board of Education. Education is not rocket science. It is people science. People helping people teach other people to learn. As long as everyone involved does his or her part well, the sky's the limit. And Mr. Klepak, thank you for all you've done. Mr. Bob Klepak. All right, now is the time when we would get up and take a big group picture, but we can't do that. So that concludes the celebration of excellence.
Thank you so much, Grant. Well, so when I get an agenda item and they just say turn it over to Grant and I don't get any other information, I see why now. So that was a surprise to all of us. We certainly thank you for the recognition, but the recognition belongs, with all of the district and the employees and the staff and administration and everyone. So thank you. It's neat to see the service on the board. Everybody on the board either graduated from Bay City, has kids in Bay City, or has taught in Bay City, or a combination of all three, right? So definitely, I feel and trust that this board has Bay City Independent School District's best interest at heart. So again, thank you. Item 6, monthly bond project update. Presenter is Christina Marrero with Claycomb and Associates. Christina, how are you?
Good, and you? Good night to everyone. So to the board, thank you for all you do to the district, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you, and we look forward to continue working and completing all these projects. To everyone, Happy New Year's. I haven't seen you since then. And then you should have received the project update from Linda by Friday afternoon or maybe yesterday. So I'm gonna start basically since November, the last time that we were presenting the project update. The 73% of the building has been complete. The brick installation and the exterior metal panels for the building finishes began and continues. The brick should have 1 to 2 more weeks until completion. And then at the interior of the building, the wall installation, gypboard and all that has been installed. The painting is to a certain point complete. Once the building is enclosed and everything is installed, there's going to be touch-ups and else. The ceramic tile as well began, and they're almost completed. They're basically left the kitchen and the restroom in area C, second floor. And then they started installing the ceiling grid for the ceiling tiles that will be laid down sometime in March. Ductwork and ductwork installation has continued all this time. Data cabling installation and light fixture lay-in continued during all this time. This all are things that unless you tour the building, you cannot see it from outside, but in the inside it's doing a lot of progress, and it's very exciting to see what's happening in there. In the kitchen, the hood and the cooler and freezer have been installed. And then the first Monday of the month, this month on January 4th, we had the pleasure to basically tour Miss Wendell and some of her staff to see their building so they can see the building in the process and some of the classrooms. Basically, the casework portion of it has been delivered and should begin installation tomorrow. And then the next milestone, according to what the contractor informed us today, is getting the HVAC running, and that should be done sometime in the second, third week of February. Are there any questions?
No questions, but I drove by the facility today, and I'll tell you, I love the way that it's positioned there. You can see it all the way out from 60. And it looks just like the other 2 brand new buildings. So there's a lot of uniformity in the school district now. And it was really neat to drive back there and see it. I mean, it's starting to look like a school.
It does.
Are we on schedule according to that document that you gave us where we had to have certain stuff by every month and we would be done a couple of months ahead of time?
We're still on schedule. If basically, once the building is closed out, they're completing the process for the permanent power that then will do the lighting. Then once the HVAC is flushed, that needs to be flushed for around 2 weeks. Once that is done, it's basically all the touch up inside, casework, the little things inside. But so far, yes, it is on schedule to be completed on the given date. That date hasn't changed.
Great news.
Yeah. And we've been working with Thomas and Mr. Johnson very closely to make sure that furniture, everything, playground equipment, all those things get ordered in time so it's ready for the first day of class. Any other questions on Leanie Roberts? or comments? Okay. The other thing would be the stadium. I don't know if you have noticed that the stretch fabric installation began, but because the soil is so wet due to the little rains here and there, the equipment has been sinking on the ground, so they have not been able to install it. So the contractor doing that portion of the work basically will be sending a guy next Monday, is what I believe, to make sure that the ground is dry enough that they can move around and be able to install the equipment. Regarding the field events, the pole vault pit was installed in the incorrect place. The coaches told us about this, so that's been corrected. And once that is corrected, then the track surface should be installed, but the track surfaces also should be installed by this week at some point. Championship plaque, the 2001, I believe, the second one, finally got installed. And I think those were the things left at the stadium. Any other questions for the stadium?
So I have a question, Christina. Is it the pole vault only? Is the long jump okay?
Yes.
The long jump is okay.
Long jump is okay, yes.
All right.
And the board, this was in the meeting in December. I don't know if it got delivered to someone else, but Thomas and Sean arranged to get the board delivered, the marking board for the long jump delivered to Thomas.
Yeah, I walked out there, and the long jump pit, it looks good. I don't know very much about the pole vault. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, basically the pit where the pole vault should basically get stuck at, for lack of better words. It's a little bit far back, but that has been corrected.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the other thing was the shot put edging. That basically we got direction on that from the coaches on the 4th. So we're waiting on one confirmation from them to make sure it's done correctly, and that's gonna get done in the next week or the following. Any other questions on any of the other buildings or Linear Roberts or the stadium? Okay.
I have a question about you, Christina.
Yeah.
How's that new baby?
He's awesome. I think we got lucky. He's a pretty shield baby.
Nice.
Thank you.
We're
for all
enjoying
you
him.
do for the
Yeah.
district.
Thank you, Christina. Appreciate your update.
Thank you. If there's any questions that come up afterwards, I'm available on my phone or via email, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7, items of business. 7A, approval for the usage of the Bay City ISD Black Cat mascot and slogan. And our presenter will be Heidi Martinez from the city of Bay City. Heidi, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
I know, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Very well.
Again, hi, my name is Heidi Martinez. I'm here representing the city of Bay City. I, of course, want to thank the school board for their service to our community and our superintendent for his leadership. Also allowing me to be here tonight and approach you to present this mural. I manage the tourism department for the city of Bay City, and we are the ones that partner with local building owners to paint the murals that you see in town. It's intended to bring more arts and cultural tourism to Bay City. Our most recent partner is Mr. Jeremy Ruth. He's tuned in with us tonight, and he is a Bay City graduate, opening a business that's going to be a 24-hour fitness center and also a medical outpatient clinic offering to pediatrics and adults alike. Whenever we start this process with the building owners, we of course always give them the opportunity to tell us what they're looking for, so we can of course give them a design that they're going to be happy with. And we didn't really have to ask Mr. Ruth what he wanted. He was very quick to let us know that he wanted a Bay City Black Cats mural to honor our Bay City ISD. So we meet with the building owner and our artists. We go through a creative process, and once the building owner approves the design, we went to the Downtown Historic District, of course. We gained approval from them. So our next step is what brings me here tonight. And myself and Mr. Ruth are here to seek approval for usage of the slogan, which is on the mural that we have. And it's "Black Cat Fight Never Dies." And of course, the approval to paint the Bay City Black Cat mascot on this mural for his building.
Awesome. And I drove by the location today and I could not find it because that picture you sent, it doesn't look like that anymore. They have painted it and they've cleaned it up and it looks very nice and professional. And as you're driving west, to have that big old black cat there, that is going to be an awesome sight. And so I'll open the floor up for any discussion from the trustees about the use of the logo. And Dr. Scott, if you have any input as well.
I just want to say, I think this is a fantastic idea. I appreciate Mr. Ruth coming forward and wanting to do this for the community and representing Bay City in this way. And I just think it's fantastic. Hats off to you, sir. I fully support this. I mean, thank you.
And I'll just piggyback off John and just say that I'm 100% behind it as well. I think it's awesome to represent Bay City like that, and I think it's great.
And Mr. Ruth
Dr.
is
Scott?
here tuned in. I didn't know if he wanted to add any words, but he has done quite a bit of work to the facility to fix the building. And I don't believe he's quite finished yet.
Sure, yeah, I'm on. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I sure appreciate y'all's support. You know, we're going to run an upstanding establishment. And it's an honor to have the Black Cat on the building with y'all's permission.
Where's the building at? It says downtown, but where at downtown?
So it would be the eastern wall of what was formerly Extreme Gym.
Right.
It's across from IBC Bank and just west of Alamo Lumber.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good spot.
I want to thank Heidi from the city for always thinking about Bay City ISD, always bringing new initiatives to us. Thank Mr. Ruth for his for him putting our mascot on his business. I always say it takes a community. It's not just the school district, but the more that the community embraces what we're doing here, the more the community celebrates what we're doing as a school district, the better off for all of us. So again, thank you all from the city and from our business partners as well for celebrating what we do here in the school district and what's been in place for quite some time. I'll have to go to our historian, Trustee Tennant, figure out how long Black Cat Fight Never Dies has been around, or Trustee DeWitt, or Trustee Klepak, or Coach Nelson. I mean, somebody. Does somebody have a date? I'll leave you off of this one.
Coach Trahan about that to Bay City.
90, 92, 93.
Okay. 92.
All right.
92, Coach Trahan about that to Bay City. Black Cat Fight Never Died.
Good deal. Thank you, Coach. Thank you for the history lesson. But again, thank you all for giving us this opportunity to partner with you.
Yes, it's always an honor for the city to partner with the Bay City ISD anytime. We're always ready and willing.
Awesome. I'll entertain a motion if there's one to be made.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the mural, Black Cat Fight Never Dies.
We have a motion made by trustee DeWitt to approve the usage of the Bay City ISD Black Hat mascot and slogan at the property described.
I'll
Is there a
second. I'll second it.
We have a second by Coach Nelson. We'll go ahead and take a voice vote. Trustee West,
Yes.
trustee Nelson,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Klepak,
Yes.
trustee Tenon,
Yes.
trustee DeWitt,
Yes.
and trustee Scardamine, yes. The motion passes 7-0. Congratulations, and it's always great to partner with the community. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing the artwork go up. And I know I've seen some of the other stuff y'all have done, and it all looks great. So
Thank you. Y'all
Thank
have
you,
a good
guys.
evening. Thank you so much.
yes, ma'am.
Have a good
Okay,
one.
item 7B, presentation and discussion of safety and security audit. Our presenter is Mr. Jeb Lacey with RS Network Consulting LLC. And I have been assured that this presentation will in no way put our security or safety at risk. But after this presentation, if any trustee wishes to ask a question that could potentially be confidential, please make it known and we will convene into closed session at that time. Jeb, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you to the board. First off, Happy New Year, as I believe has been mentioned already, but I certainly want to make sure that I let you know that I hope that you had a happy and productive holiday break, at least restful. And to Chief Cunningham and Dr. Scott, I want to say thank you again for the opportunity to serve Bay City ISD. This is the second statutory audit that we've conducted for the district. It presents us with an opportunity to see progress and to see growth, and that's an exciting thing. So if you can all see my screen, I'll try to be brief, but I'll progress through the overview of the audit. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, fantastic. Again, my name is Jeb Lacey with RS School Safety. We conducted a statutory audit for the Bay City ISD. The statutory audits are required every 3 years to assess safety and security measures and programs. Again, the specific documents relating to that assessment are confidential under statute. And so it is the prerogative of Dr. Scott and Dr. Scott alone to determine whether or not any portion of the audit information is releasable. Again, every 3 years we conduct this process. The last assessment for the district was conducted in 2017 by RS School Safety. All facilities of the district, including non-instructional facilities, are subject to a site visit as part of the audit. And then we assess emergency management programs and other programs that are sort of associated with providing a safe environment for students to attend school and for staff to perform their work educating our kids. The first thing I'd like to say is that we saw substantial improvement at the campus level in a number of areas. Obviously, the addition of some new construction and things along those lines helps to a tremendous degree, but we saw practical improvement as well, including campuses that had improved campus safety guidance, improvements in things like locking infrastructure and other types of hardware. And then obviously some improvements from a planning perspective at the campus level. One of the things I do want to point out that we did observe is that it seems as though there's been an expansion of things like video surveillance tools and things along those lines, but that there may be a limit to their effectiveness because we don't have a consistent method for monitoring those types of surveillance tools. When we talk about surveillance tools, we have a post-event benefit that is, they can be static and not monitored. And we have a post-event benefit for things like adjudication or loss prevention and that sort of thing. But to really maximize their effectiveness, we do need to have the ability to monitor them in real time. The other thing that's I think a challenge there that we're finding in the education environment and really in the high density environment in general is that those types of tools can be very complicated to use. And so oftentimes the folks who are using them, if they're not using them all the time, are going to be less effective in leveraging them to keep folks safe. But by and large, again, we saw a tremendous improvement across the campuses. Particularly, I want to mention building envelopes. We conducted intruder assessments in 2017 We did not conduct intruder assessments in 2020 due to the COVID emergency, but the consistent locking of building envelopes, i.e. the actual building itself, increased to a tremendous degree, particularly at the elementary campuses. And then one other mention at the campus level was locking infrastructure awareness. And so when I say that, what I mean is we have great tools. We've made some investments on some of our campuses, and we've certainly seen improvement in the security of the campuses. But there is an opportunity for increased awareness on how we utilize the tools that we've been given, particularly how certain doors lock in order to keep sensitive areas safe, and making sure that we have that awareness across the campus. And it's not just our safety professionals within the police department that are aware of exactly how these tools can be leveraged to keep our kids safe. We did did a site visit for all of the support facilities. We did work with each individual department director when we did our site visit to identify any potential issue, anything that could be solved quickly. Those were all identified directly to those department directors, but also in the report that was provided to the police department and the superintendent. One thing I did want to say is the athletics facility is looking fantastic. And from a safety perspective, from our perspective, we really feel as though particularly the separation of sides, the non-commingled facilities and that sort of thing is a real step in the right direction for safety in athletics facilities and stadiums. So much so we've touted that design to other folks. We've seen it obviously in the past. It's not brand new. But to see your school district embracing it, the stadium design was very nice to see from our perspective. We did review all of your emergency management and safety programs. To start off talking about the district's emergency operations plan, we have seen tremendous improvement there. And I think a hat tip to Chief Cunningham and his staff who have worked hard to improve the district's foundational strategic plan for how we deal with emergency and crisis. It's very, very detailed. There's a ton of very useful information in it. We do want to mention that the 86th legislature brought into play a number of new requirements. And so it will take school districts time to figure out how to integrate these new requirements into their existing frameworks. And the district is working toward achieving compliance in those areas, and I think is doing a great job. That certainly will need to be something that's continued area of focus in 2021, continuing to tick off those compliance issues that came out of the 86th legislative session, particularly out of Senate Bill 11. The District Safety and Security Committee appears to be operational and in compliance for the most part with statute, with the exception of some composition challenges, again, coming out of the 86th legislature, but they either have addressed them or we're in the process of addressing them when we did our site visit. Another requirement that came out of the 86th, of course, is safe and supportive schools programs and behavioral threat assessment teams. We did assess those programs and saw that they were in the process of being established for purposes of compliance and for being able to serve our children. We were not able to locate information on some other programs, one of them being suicide prevention programs. And so that was relayed to the appropriate district representative. I'm certain that they are working toward addressing any issues that were identified in the assessment. By and large, from a programmatic standpoint, the district is moving at light speed in the right direction. Obviously, there is no such thing as a perfect program. We provide services to school districts across the country. We've primarily here in Texas, but we've never seen a perfect program and we never will. And there's always opportunity for improvement. I do believe that Dr. Scott's leadership, Chief Cunningham and his team are moving in the right direction. One thing I also do want to mention was the COVID protocols. We saw a number of spacing protocols and things along those lines, traffic flow protocols, particularly at the high school and the cafeteria and things along those lines that we thought were obviously very well thought out and something that could be ported to other districts across the state and nation. So kudos to your COVID team, to your public health teams on the campuses for doing a great job, trying as best they can to mitigate, obviously the COVID-19 emergency. So again, we observe numerous best practices across the campuses from a planning perspective, from a building envelope security perspective. We did mention that there are some opportunities to continue development of some programs, particularly the Emergency Operations Plan and the Safety and Security Committee program. But we cannot say this any more clearly. The trajectory is definitely up for the safety and security programs within the district, and we were very, very happy to have done the visit. I will say it was one of our better, more positive visits of the season. Obviously, you know, the audit season coming every 3 years, it was a highlight of ours. So again, kudos to Chief Cunningham and his team and all the staff at Bay City ISD. I'm happy to entertain any questions you have.
I guess I'll unmute my computer. If there's any question any trustee would like to ask about the safety or security audit, please do so, and keep in mind that if it is something that might put our district in harm or be confidential, that go ahead and request that we go into closed session, and we'll make that happen.
I'd like to ask a question real quick. So upon the release of this audit, is this given to Chief Cunningham or Superintendent Scott, and they evaluate it and work on some of the strengths or the weaknesses and strengths of the audit? Is that how that works?
Yes, sir. So the audit process traditionally, and in this particular case, our audit report was provided to Chief Cunningham, and Chief Cunningham provided it to members of the district, including the superintendent, as I understand it. And forgive me if I'm mistaken, Chief, on that. But the audit itself is also, it is a confidential document, and it stays within the district for them to create opportunities for improvement, to identify those areas in which, you know, the next round, the next 3 years, this next cycle, we can identify those areas in which we want to really spend our time or you know, increase our emphasis. The content of the audit is not reported to the state of Texas, to the School Safety Center, but a portion of it, which is called the district audit report, is reported to the state to show that you're compliant with statute. And that includes some information that's collected in the audit, but the facility audit itself and the programmatic audits themselves stay within the district for confidentiality purposes.
Very good. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll just say that it's good to hear that we're moving in the right direction. Thank you, Mr. Lacey. I do hear a lot of praises about our district's response to COVID and the mitigation thereof. And so a lot of that comes from Dr. Scott about his staff, and then some of the staff about the nurse, and then from other community members. And so to hear it again from an outside independent auditor really sits well with us. So thank you for that piece of information. And thank you for your report.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, item 7C, possible action to approve amendment number 3 to the OQ Chemicals Corporation, formerly Oxea, appraised value limitation on qualified property agreement number 1028. Presenter Rick Johnson, Chief Financial Officer for Bay City Independent School District. Rick.
Good evening, trustees. What I have for you this evening is an amendment that was prepared by Walsh Gallegos. These points are basically from Oscar Trevino, so I'm going to relay them to you. Amendment number 3 does not make any substantive changes in the amendment with Oxea, but instead clarifies what changes are already in place and agreed to by the board in OQ via amendment number 1, which recognized the reduction of the project by OQ and led to the recovery of the supplemental pay in arrears. OQ has agreed to this amendment number 3. The amendment number 3 is a kind of a product of the comptroller's office in the sense that they ask Walsh Gallegos a few clarifying points. And so this amendment clarifies the questions that the comptroller's office had posed. The first area was the reduction of the number of qualifying jobs for the project. Originally it was 19, and they changed the number of jobs to 16. Updated contract information which would change the name from Oxaya to OQ. The other one was the area of the reinvestment zone in modified project boundaries. In other words, they wanted to nail down the area for the reinvestment zone out there at the Oxaya site. So in your board book, there's a aerial view of the Oxaya unit that's going in, or that has gone in. And more specifically, it describes the manufacturing equipment installed by OQ based on the revised investment of the $130 million. Previously, they were going to, Oxaya originally, years ago, the original plan was to put in 2 units. And then they amended the project to putting in 1 unit, in which that was what the board approved when they approved amendment number 1. Does anybody have any questions? It's more of a housekeeping thing, pretty much.
Okay. Trustees have any questions?
Yeah.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve it.
Okay, motion has been made by trustee Kalipak to approve amendment number 3 to the OQ Chemicals Corporation, appraised value limitation on qualified property amendment number 1028 is presented. Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second it.
Motion has been seconded by trustee Tinnen, and is there any further discussion? We will take a voice vote. Trustee West? Trustee West? You gotta
Sorry,
unmute.
gotta unmute. Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Yes.
Trustee Robinson?
Yes.
Trustee Kalipak?
Yes.
Trustee Tinnen?
Yes.
Trustee DeWitt?
Yes.
And trustee Scardamai, yes, and the motion approved 7-0. And I see Lisa's face, so she must know she's next.
Thank you very much, trustees.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Rick. Appreciate it, sir.
All right, item 7D, employment of personnel, presenter Lisa Voltmer, Chief of Human Resources and Federal Compliance. Lisa?
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, trustees. The administration recommends the elections as presented in board book.
Is there any recommendation that any trustee would like to remove and discuss in closed session? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we hire the personnel.
Motion has been made by trustee Kalipak to approve the employment of personnel as presented in board book. Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second it.
Motion has been seconded by trustee West. We'll take a voice vote. Trustee West,
Yes.
trustee Nelson,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Kalipak,
Yes.
trustee Tannen,
Yes.
trustee DeWitt,
Yes.
and trustee Scardamai, yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, item 7E, consent agenda. 1, approval of minutes of previous meetings. A, the special board meeting from November 9th, 2020. B, the regular board meeting from November 16th, 2020. And C, the special board meeting from December 10th, 2020. 2, approval of November and the December financial reports. Is there any item that any trustee would like to remove from the consent agenda for separate consideration? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion has been made by trustee Tinnen to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second to his motion?
I'll second that.
Motion has been seconded by trustee DeWitt. We'll take a voice vote. Trustee West,
Yes.
trustee Nelson,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Kalipak,
Yes.
trustee Tinnen,
Yes.
Trustee DeWitt,
Yes.
and trustee Scardama, yes, and the motion passes 7-0. Moving on to item 8, superintendent's report. Dr. Scott, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. In your board, trustees, in your board book, and I'm going to go from the bottom up and leave the communication for last. You'll have your monthly statements from Claycomb and Associates. You'll also find resignations. And as part of the communication, we received a notice from one of our teachers, and I'd like to read it to you. She actually submitted this on 12/11/20. Says, Dr. Scott and School Board, I just received a notice announcing the incentive payment. Although the money is very appreciated, I mainly want to say how much your words of affirmation meant to me. The Lord's timing is perfect. Just about the time I'm at my wit's end and ready to throw in the towel, He sends words of appreciation and encouragement. Thank you for your support of all of us here at Bay City ISD. Sincerely, Wendy Heck, Tenny Holmes, 5th grade science. And just to echo those sentiments, we just don't know how much it does for our teachers and our staff and all of our employees here in the district when we say good job or when we recognize the hard work that they do. They definitely appreciate the money. But hearing from trustees, hearing from the administration that we see you, we see the hard work that you're doing every single day on behalf of our kids in these uncertain times. This is a notice from one teacher who wanted to express this to us. But I tell you, I get emails, see teachers, and they express the same thing. To have a board, to have an administration that really acknowledges that this is not easy work. Teaching and learning is not really easy. It goes a long way. I believe just by this notice, we can see that it lifts the spirits of our teachers. And again, it keeps us going. I mean, just as we're all human, the words of encouragement will help us get past some things at time that we may not necessarily want to. So I want to echo those sentiments about the board. And I always want to say this to people, remind people that these are volunteer positions that these trustees are in. They don't get paid, they don't get compensated for the work that they do on behalf of not only the school district, but the work that they're doing in these volunteer positions will impact our community at large. The school system is the center of the community, and it impacts everything from inward outward. If we're going to have a successful economy, it's going to start with the leadership here on this school board. If we're going to increase safety measures in our community, there may not be a direct impact, but there's an impact based on what we do in the school district by providing the most appropriate and rigorous education we possibly can for students. So hats off to you, trustees. You don't have an easy job, and having an aggressive superintendent like myself doesn't make it any easier for you as well. So I appreciate your support. More importantly, I appreciate your pushing on behalf and challenging not only me, but the administration on behalf of the kids in our district and also the community members you represent. You were elected to do a job. And that job is to hold the administration accountable for ensuring that we're moving this school district in the right direction. Once again, I thank you for the commitment that you provide day in and day out on a voluntary basis. So hats off to you, trustees. This is your month. I don't know if Grant mentioned it or not, but he's putting your bios and he's sneaking some pictures of you guys. So and lady, it's all over the internet. It's going to be all over social media. So if somebody says, hey, you look good in whatever you had on with the note, just know that Grant is sending something out to celebrate you all this month. And again, as superintendent of schools here, I appreciate everything you do day in and day out for our kids. Mr. President, that concludes my comments.
Awesome. Thank you for those kind words. And, just to kind of echo, the teacher's sentiment about the way that the thanks made her, every trustee got a couple of emails this week from a couple of the school employees, and those were much appreciated. And I haven't had a chance to respond to them yet, but I will. Last year, we received about 60 letters from children thanking us. Some of the classrooms did that, and I wrote back to every single one of those children thanking them for writing. And so I love hearing about the volunteer work. People often ask, do you get paid as a board member? I tell them no. In fact, it's illegal. This is one of the few boards where it's illegal to pay the board. And so we do it for the right reasons. And so it takes that heart and that mindset and the servant attitude. And so I'd like to hear more about this. And Dr. Scott and I talked about this earlier, but there's a lot of boards out there that actually at the end of their meeting, they take time for board member comments. And it's really about how you're connecting with the children in the district, how you're connecting the community to the school district, and what you're involved in. And so I know John does a lot of work with his church, and Trent does a lot of work with children, and he's got the Christmas lights, and Bob's in the Lions Club, and they give scholarships out to the district children. And so Mark's involved in PTO, and Priscilla's involved in almost every kid's life in Bay City. And so, Coach Nelson, 40 plus years in education. And so I didn't leave anybody out, did I? Nope, got us all. And so I'd like to hear more about that, because there's so much that you guys do that, people don't know about. And so I think at the end of every meeting, we're just going to have an open kind of couple minutes for anybody who wants to make any comments, thanking the teachers, and just talking about what they do. And so we'll get that as an agenda item. And we'll try to keep that quick and try to make that a little fun part of our meeting. So with that said, I will open it up. Any final comments from any trustees? Okay. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, the motion has been made by trustee DeWitt to adjourn. Is there a second to trustee DeWitt's motion?
A second. A second.
I don't know who I heard. I heard Trent's voice.
I think I heard Nelson.
Coach Nelson got it.
Coach Nelson has seconded the motion for adjournment, and we'll take a voice vote. Trustee West,
Yes.
trustee Nelson,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Klepak,
Yes.
trustee Tenon,
Yes.
trustee DeWitt,
Yes.
trustee Scardama, yes. The motion passes 7-0, and you guys enjoy your evening.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.